What's going on? Shane Serrano here, and today I am super excited because in my hands I have the brand new 2021 DC Step-On boot. And this is super exciting because this is the first ever non-Burton Step-On boot, which is changing the game and stepping even more into the future than before. So let's check it out. So here we have it, the 2021 DC Control Step-On. This is going to be a dual BOA boot. So you have the side BOA to tighten the lower zone and the upper BOA to tighten the upper zone. This boot has the total Burton Step-On outsole. So you have the toe cleat on the left side of the boot, toe cleat on the right side of the boot, and then you have the heel lock on the back. And this is exactly the same system as Burton Step-On boots. And with that being said, this Step-On boot is only going to work in the Burton Step-On binding. So don't think you can ride this in any regular binding. This is only going to work in the one Step-On binding that Burton makes. And so we have the DC Control for the men's, and we also have the DC Lotus Step-On for the ladies, which I'll be talking about in a moment. So it's super cool that another brand is joining the Burton Step-On system. This just gives the buyer more options for different boot fits. And one of the issues with Burton being the only brand to have Step-On is that if your foot didn't fit in a Burton boot, the Burton Step-Ons weren't for you. And so now we have a solution to that problem. We have another boot fit that can work in the Step-On system. So I'd really suggest this boot for two kinds of people. One, the person that really wanted Step-On and they weren't able to get it because their foot just didn't fit well in a Burton boot, or the person that got Step-Ons but their foot didn't fit in a Burton boot and they just needed to have the system anyway. Now there's a new option for that person. So go and try out the DC Step-On. This is only going to be compatible in the Burton Step-On binding, as I mentioned before, but it is another great option. In the men's version, the Control Step-On, you're going to have the dual BOA system, as I mentioned before. You're also going to have an awesome footprint that has dual rubberized zones that's going to give you great traction. This boot also comes with DC's white liner, if you know about DC's boots. It's a great, like one of their high-end liners that super comfortable, super warm, and a great fit. The flex of the Control is going to be similar to the Burton Photon. So kind of in that middle flexing, kind of softer end flex of a boot. You put this on and it's super comfortable right out of the box, and it's got a nice, softish flex, kind of in that middle soft range. Taking the boot apart and looking at that DC white liner, you can see that you have that nice power strap across the front to keep you nice and locked in there. And you also get a pretty nice DC footbed. There's no harder rubber in this, so maybe getting like a Remind insole might be a little better, but still a good option from DC. And just an overall, comfy looking boot. It has a little bit of a heel hold, but not too much, because DC tends to have a little bit of a wider heel fit than Burton, for instance. And that's one of the differences that you might look between the DC model and the Burton model. Burton sometimes tends to have too much of a heel hold for people, so if you're in that category, I'd check out the DC Control Step-On. On the inside of the shell of the boot, you're going to get that nice reflective material on the sole, which bounces heat up towards your foot and shoots the cold away from you, keeping you a little extra warm. And then you also have that nice internal harness system to keep everything locked in there and secure. On the ladies' side, for the DC Lotus Step-On, it's pretty much the Control, just in a women's version. So women's fit, it also has that dual BOA system. It has a pretty identical sole that has great traction for if you're hiking around or just don't want to slip on ice in the parking lot. And you're going to get that nice, plush, cushy DC liner from this boot as well. One of the things DC did without on their boot is the ankle strap that you see on the Burton Step-Ons. And a lot of people thought they didn't really need that, so I think DC opted out of that option just because it was a little more for looks. Some people like to have that feeling of a strap on their ankle, but you don't necessarily need it. So when you see the Step-On boot, don't be alarmed that there is no ankle strap. The boot is going to ride very similar to the Burton boots. It's just another fit option and, you know, another option to have more step-ons out for the public to try. One super important thing to be aware of with the DC boot, as with the Burton boots, if you're looking for these online, there is a DC control boot that is not step-on. So if you want to get the step-on version, make sure you are seeing the toe cleats on the boot and the heel lock. The boots look identical aside from those features. So make sure you're looking at the right thing for what you want so that you're not sorely disappointed when you get that package in the mail and it's not step-on. And there you go. That's the 2021 DC Control Step-On, a brand new addition to the Step-On line this year. Like I said, this is only going to work in a Burton Step-On binding. There's only one model for the binding, so it shouldn't be too confusing. If you have any questions, drop them below in the comments section. Hopefully I will get to be able to ride these this year, and I can give you a little more comprehensive of a rundown on how they feel and how they ride. Otherwise, if there's any other products you want to see me talk about, let me know in the comments and I will try my best to check them out and look at them. As I said before, I'm Shane Serrano. If you're not already subscribed, go and hit that button. Also throw a thumbs up for that brand new product, brand new for this year, because we love to see that. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.